Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Wendy O'Connor. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be hosting weekly Facebook Live events every Tuesday at 12 noon. So feel free to join or watch later when it posts on my page. Today we're talking about overcoming your fear of failure. And this is a topic that I often work on with patients in my practice. Is really quite relevant when it comes to reaching our goals, reaching our dreams, and it's something that comes up time and time again. Folks come in and say, I wish I just believed I could, or how am I going to get over these obstacles, or how will I just believe that what I want to achieve is possible? So what we'll talk about today is where your fear of failure comes from. We'll talk about why failure is good, and we'll talk about specific steps to overcome that fear of failure. So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, where does my fear of failure come from? And this is really identifying the origin of that fear. Some of us develop our fear of failure from an actual failure, from feeling embarrassed or ashamed about something that we did wrong. Some of us develop a fear of failure from the perspectives of having very rigid or strict parents who didn't necessarily teach us how to navigate failures, didn't support us through our disappointments, and instead maybe criticized us or made us feel like we weren't good enough because we made a mistake, an error, or a failure. So identifying the origin of your fear is a really critical step, because sometimes my patients will even be able to identify a particular person's voice in their head that's telling them to stop, or that's telling them that they're a failure. And if we can identify where that voice comes from and whose it is, sometimes we're even able to quiet that voice and take our own voice back and say, that's not my belief. That may have been what I was taught, or that may have been what I was exposed to, but that's not what I want to believe about myself. So find your origin of the fear. The next question is, can failure be a good thing? And I will argue that yes, it can. Because without failure, we don't learn how to persevere. If we don't fail, if we don't fall down from time to time and learn to dust ourselves off, stand back up, and try again, we won't build resilience. And resilience is key to success. Because the more we get back up, the more we dust ourselves off, the more we try again, the closer we are to actually succeeding at reaching our goals. If we let that critic voice in our head tell us that what we did was a failure and there's no point in trying anymore, that's where our success will stop. We won't ever reach our goals because our head is telling us not to bother. So failure can be a really great thing in our lives because it teaches us how to persevere. It teaches us how to navigate hardship. It teaches us how to build resilience in the face of adversity. So shifting your perspective, which is one of the steps I'll talk about in a minute, is a key element to overcoming your fear of failure. Because if we look at it like it's a learning opportunity, then we won't look at it as a failure that defines us. So let's talk about, we have 7 steps here to overcome your fear of failure. The first one is just the reality that your fear will need to come with you. You won't be able to say, all right, I have all of the confidence in the world. I believe I can do this. I know I will, so I shouldn't be afraid. Recognize that you've probably had this fear for some time, maybe even with some good reason, and allow it to join you on this journey. Don't feel like you have to block it out or avoid it. Just accept that it's a natural part of taking risks. The second step is to set realistic goals. Now, this is something that I work on with patients all of the time. Folks will come in and be really excited about the change or growth that they want to make in their lives. And they set these goals that are really hard to achieve because there's so many baby steps between here and there that folks tend not to anticipate. The problem with this is that it sets us up for failure. It sets us up to feel discouraged. It sets us up to feel unprepared, and it takes the wind out of our sails. So one of the most important steps is to set realistic goals. These are measurable goals. These are attainable goals. These are small, teeny tiny steps that you believe with 100% certainty you can accomplish. And by building up on each of those smaller goals, it leads you to your larger goals or towards your dream. Goal setting is a bigger topic that I'll be talking about more in detail at another Facebook Live event. But for now, just take with you that smaller, the better. The third step is to identify, anticipate, and navigate obstacles. If we choose a goal, think of a goal right now that you may have for your life. And I asked you to write down any of the potential obstacles that could get in your way of achieving that goal. You'll already be more prepared than someone that just tries to jump right in without anticipating any of the hurdles ahead. So when you identify the goal you'd like to work on, write down what those potential obstacles could be. Anticipate them, even plan for them. Think of some strategies that you could use to overcome them. A saying that I like to use is that there will always be bumps in the road. We always have bumps in the road while we're driving. But if we stopped driving every time we hit a bump, we'd never get anywhere. These obstacles are the same thing. They are just bumps in the road. Don't let them stop you from driving. The fourth step is to shift your perspective. And I touched on this a little bit a few minutes ago. But what you believe to be true is the single most critical piece in achieving your success. If you believe that you can, then you will. And if you believe that you can't, you won't. So working hand in hand with a psychologist or coach on how to shift your perspective, how to identify the distortions in your thinking that might be getting in the way from you seeing possibilities or opportunities for yourself could go a very long way in helping you reach your goals. Your perspective is everything. And if you could learn how to interpret failure or missteps or disappointment differently, you can get yourself back in the ring so much quicker. And by getting yourself back in the ring so much quicker, we're getting even closer to our goals. The fifth step is to visualize. Now, this is something that you can do with anything, and I mentioned it at the Women in Wellness seminar that I did last week. Visualizing where you want to be in life helps you attain that vision. It allows you to see it as something realistic, because if you can picture it, you can make it happen. So one of the ways that we can overcome our failure is to visualize our success. Picture yourself reaching your goals. Picture yourself how you feel, what you think, how you act, who's around you, how life might be different when you achieve your goal or when you reach your destination. So that visualization piece is really important, because when we see it, it helps us believe we can be there. It helps us believe we can get there. The sixth step, and this one's inevitable, is to fail. So the more you expose yourself to failure, the more you allow yourself to learn how to navigate it, how to pick yourself back up, how to dust yourself off, how to get back in the ring. You have to fail to succeed. It is inevitable. So if we spend all of our time trying to avoid failure or resist it or block it out of our lives, we're really doing ourselves a disservice, because we're not actually learning how to succeed and we're not getting any closer to reaching our goals. So get out there, look at failure as an opportunity to learn something, how to learn from our mistakes, how to improve our game, and try again. But the seventh step is what's really important when it comes to getting back up again. You have to be gentle with yourself. You can't be so critical and harsh on yourself that actually makes you feel less inclined to try again. So if you're getting out there and you're exposing yourself to failure and you're actually failing, that voice that you use inside your head to interpret that failure is really critical. Be gentle. Be kind with yourself. Look at it as a learning experience. Look at it as something that you're using for self-growth, not something that defines you. Being gentle with yourself will help you reach your goals so much quicker than being hard on yourself. Being hard on ourselves makes us want to give up. Being gentle and positive with yourself helps us want to succeed. So, thank you all for coming today and joining me. I'm really grateful to have you here, and I hope that this talk about overcoming your fear of failure was useful. I hope you take something from it and integrate it into your life today. Just think of one small goal that you want to achieve, break it into small pieces, identify those distortions in your thinking that makes you feel like you can't or worry that you can't. Challenge those distortions. Come up with more positive ways to look at the situation. Anticipate your obstacles. Be super gentle and kind with yourself, and go for it. So I will add my contact information. So if you want to give me a call to talk about this or any other subject, feel free to reach out. If you want to email me, this is my email. And if you just want to visit the website and see what services I offer, this is where you can find me. So I hope you all enjoyed today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Get out there and smash your goals.